Morning. I just sent out the links for the first two videos. I was having some uploading trouble, but I sent an email that has links to videos that should help with workbook page 144 and 145. Just let me know if you have any questions. I hope the first day went well, and I'm working on some notes for workbook page 146 that talks about graphs of equal ratios. So if you look at this table, I hope when you look over this page, you remember a time when we talked about function tables that show patterns. This is the exact same thing. It's just including we're calling them ratios now. So if you look at page 146, there's the example at the top, but I'm actually looking at number 1 from the workbook at the bottom of the front of page 146. Where it says a block weighs 20 pounds. Complete the table of equal ratios. So we have the number of blocks and then the weight per that number of blocks. So if we have one block, the total weight would be 20 pounds. So if one block weighs 20 pounds and you have 2 blocks, then you would end up with 40 pounds worth of blocks. And then you continue that same pattern. If you have 3 blocks, that would be 60 pounds. 4 blocks would be 80 pounds. And then 5 blocks would be 100 pounds. So you have to continue that table. That's a function table. Now, if you remember about function tables, once we figured out this pattern, we needed to graph the information. Well, the important thing to remember about all graphs is that they have an x-axis that runs horizontally and a y-axis that runs vertically. Okay? So how do we translate this information in the function table to be able to put it on this graph? And that goes all the way back to you talking about coordinate grids, where whenever you had to plot a point on a grid, you went over and then up. Well, a grid is just an early version of these graphs that you have to make. And your workbook actually has the grid, but if you remember, we don't have to draw the grid in. We just need the correct scale on our graph, and this one's given to you, so that's a little bit easier. So if you remember, we're going to use these as our ordered pairs for our graph. Well, that requires that we know which number goes on which axis of the graph. And typically we say, what we use first is going to be the information that comes on the x-axis. So we actually need to name the blocks x, and we need to name the weight y. And that gives us our ordered pair. So our very first ordered pair that we use to plot on this graph would be the ordered pair 1, 20, using the 1 from the blocks and 20 from the weight. The second ordered pair would be 2, 40. The next one would be 3, 60, and so on and so forth. I want to make that look like an 8. And then you have 480 and 5, 100. And then you use those points now to plot on the graph. So remember, over and then up. So we go over to 1 and up to 20. Over 2, up 40. Over 3, up 60. Over 4, up 80. Over 5, and up to 100. And then remember, when you connect here and you show your line, this corner point here where the two axes meet, that's the 0. So you actually need to start from the 0 and connect the line, and it shows a trend, an increasing trend here. And it can continue. This pattern can continue indefinitely, so we put an arrow on that line that we draw. Okay? So that's from the front of workbook page 46. So you guys do the back. I've included the keys for this week, but I've only included the keys for the back of the workbook page. So take the front as kind of your practice, and then check your back when you get finished with it. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll be glad to help you. I hope this looks familiar, though, because we did do it. We just didn't call them ratios when we did it. Okay? All right, have a good afternoon. See you later.